Thank you for joining the Tabernacle Choir and Orchestra at Temple Square for this New Year's Day special, originating from historic Temple Square in Salt Lake City. Please join us again for music and the spoken word. Until we meet again, may peace be with you this day and always.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our #1 news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagati alongside Namakabiso Nkambule, and here are your top stories. Members of the Dingaja Regiment from the Hoho region are preparing for action as they are expected to be commissioned by His Majesty King Eswatini III. Her Majesty the Queen Mother continues to lead regiments in dancing of the Eswatini royal residence. The Minister of Agriculture assures farmers and the nation at large that there are enough tractors to service the country throughout the plowing season. The news. Members of the Dingaja Regiment from the Hoho region are preparing for action as they are expected to be commissioned by His Majesty King Eswatini III. The latest development comes as His Majesty continued to lead the nation in the dancing of the Eswatini royal residence.
There are strong indications that His Majesty the King will soon commission the Dingaja Regiment from the whole region to march to Ngabezweni royal residence. The commissioning of the regiment will effectively mean that the main Inkwala will be danced in the next couple of days. As His Majesty continued to lead regiments in the dancing of the ceremony, members of the regiment were gradually trickling into the royal residence. In fact, some of them were part of Wednesday's dancing, where the king was joined by Emakosigati, their Royal Highnesses, Banfa Bengkosi, the Prime Minister, and regiments who included a regiment of men of the cloth known as Bokololo. As the Inkwala ceremony transitions to a new phase, the public holiday marking the main Inkwala Day will be officially unveiled. This is expected to occur once His Majesty the King has blessed the process. At Butleni Royal Residence, I am Sandile Makanya for Eswatini TV.
Her Majesty the Queen Mother continues to lead regiments in dancing the Liklingwala at Eswatini Royal Residence. The ceremony is proceeding successfully since its commencement.
The Liti Ingwala gains in momentum each day ever since its commencement. Her Majesty the Queen Mother continues to lead the various regiments of the Maswati in dancing the Liti Ingwala at Lutitini Royal Residence. Also present in dancing the Liti Ingwala at Lutitini Royal Residence are the Makosigati to His Majesty, Bokoko Balondolozi, and their Royal Highnesses, the Princes and Princesses. With the current number of days of the Liti Ingwala, it is surely a sign that the Ingacha regiment is supposed to get ready for the Lusegwane ceremony. Soon, the regiment from all the 4 regions of the kingdom will be commissioned by His Majesty King Mswati III to cut Lusegwane. On the news, I am Polile Mazia at Lutitini Royal Residence.
Eswatini National Provident Fund Chief Executive Officer Prince Longo Kela has announced an increase in funeral cover payouts. The CEO said normal deaths and accidental deaths will increase to 7,500 emalangeni and 15,000 emalangeni respectively.
The changes announced by Eswatini National Provident Fund's Chief Executive Officer Prince Longo Kela on the Siphelele free funeral cover commenced on January 1st, 2023, and beneficiaries include those who died on the date of commencement.
Ibhodi ihlangana minister ne-cabinet basibusisele lokuthi sale isuka ku 5,000 iya ku 7,500 for normal death and to 15,000 for accidental death. Nangabe sohambele isihlobo sakho ufanele ukuthi le claim yendiwe within 6 months. Uma ingendiwa in 6 months sengahle kwenteke kukhanya ukuthi cha sesicabanga ukuthi usho ukuthi umbe bongayidzingi le mali endiphela seyisebenzele kuyo.
Speaking on behalf of the employees are Sandile Dlamini and Mfokotis Maseko.
I-management yakho nkosi ibhizi kakhulu nje lonyaka isibukela lenye izaba lengathi ikhunyanyana lethi i-medical aid. Siyalo ukuthi kuyahamba kahle kakhulu mhlawumbe ngoba baphathi bayasithanza kakhulu.
Lasihambeni ke sibe nalama goals ethu siwa achieve lawo ma goals si celebrate.
The Chief Executive Officer challenged the employees to come up with innovations and business investments that will generate more money for the fund. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini Ezulwini.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy hereby regrets the ongoing disruption in the availability of unleaded petrol 95 in most retail outlets. The ministry is monitoring the situation and reminding the oil companies of their mandate in ensuring constant supply to their filling stations. An assessment of the cause of such a disruption has revealed that it is a result of two factors. One, fuel supply logistics problems at loading terminals. Two, the high demand of products due to being a peak season. Whilst not all oil companies are affected by the mentioned supply logistics, the oil companies that have fuel are under pressure as they had to meet the increased fuel demand and hence depleting their fuel reserves quicker. The ministry has, however, been assured by the oil companies that the fuel supply situation is improving and that they are working on measures to mitigate the challenges to avoid reoccurrence of the situation. The ministry therefore implores all stakeholders to be patient as we together with the oil companies resolve the challenges and regret any inconvenience occasioned in this regard. The statement is by Dorcas Idlamini, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources. The Deputy Prime Minister's office would like to once again warn the public of a scam that continues to target the public. The scammers claiming to be employees from the DPMO call unsuspecting individuals and solicit mobile money account details under the pretext of a non-existent COVID-19 funds grant. The mobile money account holders are then tapped into giving out their confidential information. The office would like to strongly distance itself from this and further inform the public that no such exercise is being undertaken by the Deputy Prime Minister's office and no fees are required for any of the services provided by the Deputy Prime Minister's office to the public. The office further warns members of the public to be cautious and advises them to be vigilant of these unscrupulous characters and not to give out their confidential personal details such as bank details, mobile money account details, and personal identity numbers to unknown callers. The statement is by Melusi Masuku, Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Eswatini, Professor Justice Twala, calls upon students to grab the opportunity to further their studies with both hands in order to have a brighter future. Professor Twala was speaking during an orientation of Faculty of Health Sciences new students for the year 2023.
The orientation of the Faculty of Health Sciences students was held at the University of Eswatini Mbabane campus. The university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Justice Twala, says unruly behavior from students will not be tolerated.
We expect all students to take this opportunity afforded to them to learn with both hands, ensuring that staff members, academic, administrative, and support staff are accorded the respect, cooperation and common courtesy at all times. University shall not tolerate any form of discrimination, violence, and unruly behavior within the learning spaces of the institution.
The students say they are happy to be given an opportunity to further their studies and that they will remain committed to their studies.
Like distracted focused. I'm very excited facet.
Bese sivile ngayimkhibela into ekakhona la emvasi sesijeliwe ngako konke kunatha kunenge nje kepha besifisile ukuthi size sifike emaphupheni ethu njengoba basigadile batala emakhaya ukuthi sophumelela nathi siyafisa ukuphumelela.
The new students were warned to desist from participating in social activities that may ruin their future. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smova Shong Mbabane.
3 men facing charges of attempted murder and malicious injury to property worth over 27,000 Malangeni intend to plead not guilty as they claim the complainant was attacked by a community mob, not them. They have since moved a bail application at the High Court.
The accused persons, Constable Fezile Dlamini, Sifiso Felix Dlamini, as well as Tembiso Machaha Dlamini of Nimputini area, are said to have committed the offense of attempted murder at November 16, 2022 at about 9 p.m. near Nimputini area. He said the accused persons, each of them acting jointly in furtherance, did unlawfully internationally attempted to kill Mangoba Smelane by assaulting him with iron rod, hacking him with bush knives and other weapons, kicks, fists, stones, several times all over the body. On count 2, the accused persons are charged with offense of malicious injury to property. That they damaged 2 fridges, all units, all windows and doors, among other items, worth 27,600 Malangeni. The accused persons have moved a bail application before the High Court Judge John Makakula. They informed the court that they did not commit the offenses they were charged with, adding that when the trial commenced, they shall enter the pleas of not guilty. They said they were shocked when they were arrested because of their knowledge the complainant was attacked by a community mob of the Mbutini area who accused him of stock theft, which is prevalent at Mbutini. The accused persons further submitted that on the day of the attack on the complainant, they were never at the scene of crime, so they have a strong defense to the charges. They added that they were confident that on completion of trial, they shall be acquitted. They are currently kept at Zakeri Remand Center, and they claim the facility is overcrowded and exposes them to possibilities of contracting dangerous diseases like tuberculosis. Judge Makakula granted them bail fixed at 15,000 Malangeni and ordered them to pay 3,000 Malangeni and 12,000 Malangeni as a surety. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, High Court.
Having Braille in schools helps visually impaired students to familiarize themselves with Braille at an early age. The world commemorated World Braille Day on Wednesday.
This year's theme for the World Braille Day is reaching blind and visually impaired persons. Braille is used by blind and partially sighted people to read the same books and periodicals as those printed in a visual font. Nondumiso Shongwe, the chairperson of ISAVIP, which is a Eswatini Association of Visually Impaired Persons, says the 4th of January, which is the World Braille Day, is a significant day for them as it shows strives by government and the inclusion of people with disabilities on government's programs.
Sibamlanga bangaboni sijabula kakhulu ikakhulu ngoba siyathi labanye bethu sifunzile labanye bethu basafunda sifunzile nje ukuthi kube khona nangu Braille lowa inventa lendlela yokubhala nanga emathuthumba laguquka abe ngemaphethini lahlukahlukene ukukhipha inkulumo lethide umuntu ongaboni ukuthi akhone ukufunda njengabo bonke bantu. Sinayo nje imishina lematima lekhona kuma libraries ethu lesiphiwe ngito iminto enkosi kuye kungayo uhulumende wakangwani letenda tinto tibe lula ukuthi nabani noma ngabe ngiphi organization letawusebenzisa nemlo ongaboni akhone kuyosebenzisa lo yamshini ukuthi ende ukuthi umuntu ongaboni naye abe part and parcel walowo msebenzi la kawendako.
She says, true as it may, some visually impaired persons still do not know how to operate the Braille. They applaud government on her efforts to include Braille in all schools for visually impaired students to have access to. Reporting IMKN MCB with Muvashongwe, some visuals sourced from the internet.
The Ministry of Health, through the Epidemiology Department, investigated 30 cases of diseases and conditions in the month of December. Epidemiologist Vusi Logotfago says common cases were of food poisoning and snake bites.
As a ministry, we have actually remained vigilant in terms of the diseases, the conditions, and the different events that we see within the community. Maybe during the month of December, we continue to see conditions like COVID-19, we continue to see diseases like diarrhea, but most importantly, we also saw some elements of food poisoning, which we actually is as a result of actually eating or consuming food that is actually not safe. And there's been teachings in terms of food safety, what food is safe and which one is not. I think you recall they also even mentioned the issue of dented tins, the issue of improper storage of food, all such issues. So what we do as a ministry, when we see someone presenting with those symptoms, we've got a surveillance system whereby the health facilities, once the person presents in a facility, just dials 977 and then it automatically sends a text message to all the people who are supposed to respond. That is ourselves, the EPR, the rapid response teams in the field. So then what the team does, they go into the field and do a thorough investigation to see what has been the cause of that abdominal pain or that poisoning that we are suspecting. So it all starts from a suspicion, and then when we reach the households, we see what they've actually consumed. If it's water, we take the water for further examination. If it's food, we also do the same, so that we ultimately know what has been the cause.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates. Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for sports news tonight, MTN Premier League defending champions Royal Leopards have suffered yet another defeat in the hands of Young Buffaloes. Leopards succumbed to a 2-1 in a match that was played at Mavuso Sports Centre in Manzini.
Royal Leopards took on league leaders Young Buffaloes in the first Premier League game of the year. It was Leopards who took the lead first half through Tembisa Shabang, but Buffaloes were quick to return the favour with a well-taken long-range shot by Sponiso Ngwenya. Buffaloes was not done as they piled up the pressure looking for the second goal of the match. It eventually came through when Ali Mat smashed in a beautiful goal. Buffaloes took the lead into the half-time break. Second half, it was Young Buffaloes who came out top as a team looking to wrap up the game. Leopards looked like a team out of ideas. It was not surprising when Sandile Kamete scored Buffalo's third goal of the game after a beautiful solo run. Though they seem to have already accepted defeat, Leopards managed to pull one back from a well-taken set piece from their playmaker, Junior Makakula. That was the last play of the match as the referee blew the final whistle. Buffaloes winning the game by 3-2. Other MTN Premier League results that played today, Highlanders defeated Seven Dreams by 2-0, and Denver Sundowns won by 1-0 against Tambuti. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi, Manzini.
The chairman of the Hoho Football League, Comfort Shongwe, has urged teams to avoid any form of violence during the Instacash Knockout tournament. Shongwe was speaking during the official launch of the tournament at the Instacash offices in Babane.
Instacash has sponsored Hoho Football Association under Super League Division for a knockout tournament that is scheduled for this weekend. Teams that managed to register many people to the platform have won themselves a place in the tournament. During the draw of the competition, the chairman of the Hoho Association, Comfort Shongwe, urged teams to stay away from violence.
Sisaya kule midlalo, there are ugly scenes lesitibonile poleni tendeka nationally. We are hopeful ukuthi those ones angeke tendeke kulama games ethu. Siyaqela lokuthi kungendeki. I'm happy ukuthi bo Rafaela bakhona la in our midst, and the referees committee nationally, they've met and they've reached the smoke peace pipe. Ngicabanga ukuthi konke kutawuhamba ngabalonina kutaba kuhle. Ngitawucela ke nasive lokuthi sisibambise ku such endeavors.
Managing Director of Instacash, Mandla Nxumalo, says this tournament is for the people, which is why they're taking it to the regions.
The chairman for the Super League on the other side said very clearly that Instacash wants to reach the people. That's why our games are not being moved from where the people are. We'll go to Dimpisine at the Lutheran ground because we want the people there to see us there. We'll go to every single ground in Ho, every single ground in Swaziland. For that purpose, we are trying to get to the people.
During the draw, in the Northern Zone, Gomanzi will take on Mhlangatan. Troanje take on Sibonelo in the games that will be played at the Kilani Stadium. In the Southern Zone on Sunday, Young Chiefs will take on Junior Stars, Billy Ocean taking on Strashin United. The games will be played at the Prince of Wales. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi, Mbabane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a recap of today's headlines. Members of the Dingaja Regiment from the Hoho region are preparing for action as they are expected to be commissioned by His Majesty King Eswatini III. Her Majesty the Queen Mother continues to lead regiments in dancing of the Liklingwala at Eswatini royal residence. The Minister of Agriculture assures farmers in the nation at large that there are enough tractors to service the country throughout the ploughing season. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.